Good morning, everybody, and hello. Today we are going to be reviewing a TV show called The Sandman from, I believe, 2022. But there is a new season coming out apparently that I didn't even know about. I thought it was just going to be like a kind of like a limited series, but I guess there's another season coming, season two, coming in July. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that actually. Now that I know there's going to be at least one more season. Because yeah, I kind of had given up on this show only because um, a few episodes came out at one point, and then they released a few more episodes again at a later date, and I was like, okay, I'll just wait and see where this show goes to see if there's any more episodes released. And then I just kind of actually forgot about it. I was on like episode 6 or 7, I think, and then yeah, again, I just get so busy watching other stuff or doing other things that I forget that I've even started something. So, but before we start, I just wanted to say that I have some new posters up, as you can probably see. I have both Machete movies, Machete and Machete Kills, really hoping for the trilogy to end there, obviously. And then I have, oh yeah, Friday the 13th, the one from 2009, right here where my finger is. And then I have Evil Dead Rise, and then just above that is the Grindhouse poster. So I have space, just enough space for two more posters on that wall, and then yeah. So I really got to decide what I, I do kind of realize that my like top of the one is like science fiction and action, and then the bottom row is like all horror movies, sort of, except for this is kind of like the outlier, but it does kind of go, I guess, with like the suspense type horror themed bottom that I have to my poster collection, at least on that wall. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that too, to let you guys know that I had some new posters up. So this show was extremely unique, and there were a lot of standout episodes, especially I would say the first and the 11th episode definitely stood out the most to me. And then obviously we had like a couple of the other episodes that were, I mean, each episode was so different that, yeah, and some of them had like a continuous storyline to them, and then others it was like almost like something different was happening each time around, right? But I can't remember exactly what episode it was where Morpheus overhears. I think it was the episode with Death, maybe, where they go back in time, and the one guy says that he doesn't want to die; he wants to live, um, basically forever. I think was what he had said, and then so Dream says to him, or Morpheus says to him, that they'll meet there each 100 years at the same tavern, bar, whatever, same spot, each 100 years to see how life's going for him. And even when he was down in the dumps in that episode, his friend, um, yeah, he still said he wanted to live, despite having so much loss in that 100 years. He always wanted to keep living because I guess I guess he was just happy being able to experience life regardless of what was happening, right? Because he couldn't die because he had already made that deal, right? So he was able to live regardless of what happened to him. Which would be kind of cool, I think, to live that long. But I mean, I think you'd have to be, um, oh, I don't know exactly how to explain it. You'd have to really have a strong will in order to live like through all of that, because as other people were dying, right, you'd be making new friends constantly, experiencing new things, obviously. So I guess there would always be something new to do as far as that goes. But we'll get into the cast list because there's other stuff I want to touch on, obviously. But that was just a standout episode to me, I guess, was that one. The whole living forever concept it's neat, but I don't think I would be able to do it. So we have Tom Sturridge as Dream or Morpheus, and he also voiced the cat in the last episode, and there was another character he voiced, but I couldn't remember what exactly character that, or what, yeah, like the name of that character, or like what importance it held, or whether it was just like another name he went by. So I just basically wrote down the two that he was most known for in the show. And then we had Boyd Holbrook as the Corinthian. Now, he was easily probably my favorite character in the entire show. Just his presence in each episode was, yeah, it was just so menacing. Like, he just had a, I don't know, like a way about him in each episode that just brought so much to it. Patton Oswalt as Matthew the Raven. So he ended up becoming Morpheus's new Raven after his original one was killed in the, I believe, was it the first episode or the second episode? I can't remember. It was one of those two episodes. But so much happens in the show, right, that sometimes it's hard to remember exactly what episode each thing happened in. Vivian Armstrong as Lucian, I believe. Now she played, I think she was like the librarian, and basically when Morpheus was captured for those, I don't know how many years exactly it was, but it was quite some time that he was captured. She took over the dream realm, or the dreaming as they called it. So when he returned, he was kind of, obviously he had no powers because all of his objects were stolen from him when he was summoned by accident, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Uh, Kyle Ra played Rose Walker, who was a vortex in the dream world who could potentially destroy it, or in Corinthians, what the Corinthian was trying to do was get her to take over it and shape it into her own world, essentially. Mason Alexander Park played Desire, who I believe was a sibling to. So Death was a sibling to Morpheus, and I believe Desire was also a sibling to Morpheus. Now, I'm not really sure. I guess Death was his. Was that his brother or his sister? It's hard to tell because they could all take different forms, right? So it was very interesting throughout the entire show. Um, uh, Razane Jamal played Lita Hall, who was, I believe, who played Lita Hall, who was Rose Walker's adoptive mother. And then when they find Unity Kincaid, who was played by Sandra James Young, they find out that she is Rose's biological grandmother. And then we had David Thewlis, who played John D. John D. Oh my God, why can't I think of who that was now? Oh yes, the son of the one woman who was from the same time as Roderick Burgess and Alex Burgess, who was played by Roderick was played by or Roderick Burgess. Roderick was played by Charles Dane, and Alex Burgess was played by Laurie Kynaston. And yeah, John D's mother was the one who took the ruby. I guess ended up with the ruby, so she had lived for I don't know how many years, like a few hundred, I guess, or a couple hundred anyway. And then we had Eddie Karanja, who played Jed Walker, who was obviously Rose Walker's brother, who she was trying to find through the couple of episodes. Jenna Coleman, who played Johanna Constantine. So if you know anything about the character of Constantine, basically essentially a bounty hunter for demons and sends them back to hell. So that's who she was, and Dream had quite some time with her through a couple of the episodes as well. Melissa Shanti Mayhut played Calliope in the very last episode, and Arthur Darville played Richard Maddock in the last episode as well. And I felt like that was a standout episode too. This author who was trying to get any ideas he can by using a daughter of Zeus, known as Calliope. I hope I'm pronouncing that at least somewhat correctly. She was willing to grant him like her powers, but she wanted to be set free because the author that had her before had abused her and done some other obviously horrible things to her in order to get whatever he wanted out of his life. And then now he was passing this Calliope down to Richard, who was on the fence about it at first, but then obviously when he finds out that he's going to lose his book deal, he just decides to take advantage of the powers that he could have, and um, Morpheus does get involved eventually because I guess she used to be with him a long time ago and they had a son together. So that's a huge part of the story that hopefully will be touched on more in the second season. I hope they meet again because that would be vital to the storytelling, I think. And another one of the things that I found very unique in this show was that anything that was created in the dream world was owned by Morpheus. So even the baby that Lita had in the one episode, eventually Morpheus would come for it and he would take it back to the dreaming because that's where it belonged. And that was unfortunate for her, obviously, because she was getting pregnant in her dream from her husband who had passed away, but he was a ghost and he was causing damage to the dreaming as well. So he had to be put back to where he belonged, and then she was told that she'd keep the baby for now, but eventually it would have to come back to the dreaming. And she can't come back there because obviously if she's there and she wasn't created in the dreaming, she would also cause damage, just the same way that Rose was causing damage for that few episodes where the Corinthian was trying to promote her to being the leader of the dreaming, or I guess the owner of the dreaming in a sense. And obviously he wanted to have his own freedom, right? Because he was created by Morpheus, but he wanted to be free of Morpheus because he thought that if he had the power over Morpheus, even though he was created by him, that he could somehow, I guess, I guess if he killed Morpheus, he would end up getting all the power, right? That was his plan probably the entire time. So he probably was just trying to take advantage of Rose, and then in the end, obviously, he would just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to take over now. Now that I've, you know, recruited this other person to kill Morpheus with me, I can now take over. And he had just like the entire time the show was going on, he had somehow like formed a cult of people who just killed for him, essentially, which was nuts because I guess that was his. I guess that was how he wanted to go about things. Um, yeah, I don't know what he was trying to really rid the world of exactly, or whether he was just trying to shape things in his own image, or whether something went wrong with him along the way, and he just kind of became the way he was. It just seemed weird because, but he was a really good character in the show. He had a lot of power, obviously, and I think he was just defiant after he was created, because he wanted to be more of a. I guess he was created as a nightmare and just kind of slowly kept going further and further into that, obviously, and then uh, clearly went off the rails a little bit. Let's just say that much. And yeah, so Dream had to take him out as well, and says that keeps him, I guess, keeps him in safekeeping anyway, to maybe be created again at some point in time. And he does bring some other characters back that he ended up banishing, and now he's creating new dreams and new nightmares in the dreaming. So I'm sure we'll see some of those characters uh, in the second season. Would be interesting for sure. Is there anything else I can touch on that happened in this show? The last episode started out weird with the little bit about the cats, like the dreams of 1,000 cats, and the fact that somehow cats used to rule the universe, and we were the small ones, I guess, and cats used to hunt us down, like we were game, and now cats are I guess, less superior to us. It was an interesting concept, actually, having the cats dream about chasing humans or being able to reverse a world if 1,000 of them dreamed at the same time, so on and so forth. So, yeah, that was kind of an interesting episode. And the one where he had to go to hell was definitely interesting. Is so when he finally is free from captivity, after in the second episode, he has to go hunting for his helm, he called it, his ruby, and his sand in order to gain back all his powers, because he isn't even powerful enough to repair the damage that was caused to the dreaming while he was absent from it. So yeah, Morpheus has to go and find all of his belongings again, and that was kind of the beginning for him, was that search. And then yeah, and then he teams up with Rose to find her brother, and she ends up finding him in the dream world, and he thinks that he's the Sandman, but we all know that the real Sandman is Morpheus. And I'm not exactly sure the extent of Morpheus's powers. It seems when he gets angry or like mindset about something, that he is willing to pretty much go to any length to get what he wants. And yeah, it's kind of scary, really, the amount of power he could potentially hold. I mean, he's able to create pretty much anything he wants, dreams and nightmares alike. So yeah, I suppose he's kind of like the middle ground, I guess. He's got good to him and he's got evil to him, and I think he has to kind of keep himself in check and not go too far either way. And I think that really showed in the last episode for sure, um, when he was with Calliope, and yeah, he was willing to kill for her, and I think that he kind of needs to learn that that's not the way things are, or that's not the way he should do things. Right? He shouldn't be killing anybody, especially humans, because who knows what that could do to our world, um, or I guess our realm in a sense. Because yeah, we have the dream realm, and then I guess like our world would be our realm. And I would say the hardest episode to watch in the show would have been the one where they're traveling around with death. There was a lot of stuff there that it was like, oh, damn, this is heart wrenching, because yeah, you're just essentially watching people come to the conclusion that they've already lost their lives, and there is nothing they can do about it. They're like pleading, like, give me like a few more minutes. I have to do this, and it's like you're already like death is visiting you because you've already passed away. So it's already too late to go back and do anything you would have wanted to do. You've unfortunately reached the end of your time, which was, yeah, unfortunate, and it was probably the hardest episode to watch for sure, because yeah, you're just watching people realize that they had already passed away was pretty devastating to view. I mean, but I guess it shows us that we should all hold our lives precious, um, and live every moment like it's your last, because you never know, obviously, what it could be, right? Um, so yeah, if I didn't say my rating, I did give this show an 8 out of 10. I will be reviewing season 2 when it comes out, whether I get to it right away or not, because I have a huge list, and then some stuff that I have to go back and yeah, like I have a pretty thorough list of stuff to go through now that I've put my list of stuff from Instagram on here as well. So yeah, I will definitely go back through. Um, I definitely will review the second season. Just when I get to it, I don't know, because I have so many other things to go through. So if I can get up like a couple reviews when I get back into the movie side of things, I will. But right now, I have a few series that I'm going to be watching. So if I don't get a review up every other day, I apologize for that, because yeah. But then we're back to the movies for quite some time. So yeah, really looking forward to getting back to doing some movies, obviously, after I complete some of these series. But I have to get through some of my stuff on Netflix that I've just been, procrastinating watching. So yeah, this is a good way to do it, to add it to the list and see if I, you know, don't like it, love it, or I'm kind of like meh about it. But anyway, yeah, 8 out of 10 for this series, and I will see you guys in the next review. Bye bye for now.